So, Godzilla versus Kong. Let's get into this. Now, I saw this about weeks ago when it first came out on HBO Max, and I never did a review on it because I was waiting for all my, all this equipment, including my crappy camera, which you probably hate me for, but I'm sorry. I had no idea this camera was going to be such shit. I mean, what the hell? I ordered it on Amazon. It said HD 1080 pixel camera. I was like, oh, cool, for a nice, reasonable price. I think it was under 100, but this camera is complete ass. But, anyways, let's get on with Godzilla vs. Kong. Okay, so one of my favorite monsters of all time, actually my favorite monster of all time, is Godzilla. I mean, I grew up to Godzilla. My dad was a huge Godzilla fan. I always grew up with the dolls, I always had a doll like somewhere from like the old 60s or the 1980, 84 or 85, I think it was, yeah, 85. Godzilla to, like here in New York, Godzilla was such a big thing in the 90s that you couldn't walk down the street without seeing a Chinese guy with a whole bunch of Godzillas just standing there, waiting for somebody to buy them. And I bought one of those when I was a kid. I remember, well, my mom bought it, but, thanks, Mom. Godzilla is just my ultimate favorite. I love Godzilla. From the roar to his atomic breath, to the way he looks, how awesome he is, and his fights, and he's always protecting Earth. I love that. I've always loved that. He may not always be protecting humans because he will, destroy your whole city if you violate like the laws of nature or something like that. That's because that's who he is. He just protects Earth from self-destructing, and he will defend it against any other monster that tries to take over it, especially his arch enemy. Like Batman has the Joker, Godzilla's arch enemy is King Ghidorah. Okay, so because he comes from another planet, he's not from Earth. He's not an earthly monster that Godzilla fights normally. So this motherfucker with 3 heads comes down here as just as powerful, or maybe more powerful, tries to take over. So, anyways, that's for another Godzilla movie. Now, this is Godzilla vs. Kong. I've been a big fan of King Kong also, since the 1933 film. My favorite one, though, was the 2005. I think it was Peter Jackson's King Kong. That King Kong is definitely King Kong. Like, that's the movie. You want to watch King Kong, that's the movie. I mean, that new one, was it 2017? I think it was Kong, Skull Island. I didn't really get too much into that one, but I know for a fact that was the movie that set up for Godzilla vs. Kong. And because they made him ginormous. Like, I mean, like 20 times bigger than what he normally is, like his normal size. His normal size is only like what, maybe 50 feet tall. He's or 30 feet tall. He's not that big. So Godzilla would just stomp his ass out. So they had to do something to make Kong, worth fighting Godzilla. So they had to like remake his size and everything. So now when they finally made Godzilla vs. Kong, spoiler alerts if you haven't seen it already. I'm probably gonna mention some spoiler alerts here. You have the characters, right? Let's see. Dr. Eileen Andrews, right, who's played by Rebecca Hall. She basically kept Kong inside of like this giant dome, to like protect him from Godzilla, because she was like always scared of him being defeated by Godzilla, because he's such a special creature. He doesn't bow to anybody. He's King Kong. He's a freaking ape. So she was always afraid of him getting destroyed by Godzilla, because she loved him that much, and she has I think that was her daughter, if I'm not mistaken, her daughter, the little girl that had like the special abilities to communicate with him. She obviously saw there was a connection between the two, so she was like, Kong is special, so she didn't want Godzilla to come after him. So she kept him in a dome, and it's like a hologram. It had like a hologram that made it look like it was Earth, and it had like the sky and everything like that, and they had real trees and all that stuff. He was surrounded by real nature, but the top was like fake, kind of like the Truman Show kind of freaking thing. So what was it? What was the name of that company? I think it was Apex or something like that. Where was it? How could I not remember this? Hold on a second. I need to look this up. I can't remember the name of that company that created spoiler alert, Mecha Godzilla. I think it was Apex, right? Hold on a second. Give me a second here. So, Jesus, where the hell is it? Come on. More info, please. No, that's not what I'm looking for. So, I was like, give me a second. Hold on. Yeah, I was right. Apex Cybernetics. I was right. Apex. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to. I didn't want to ruin anything. So this company was created by I forgot his name, but anyways, so he creates this company called Apex Cybernetics and uses the DNA basically and the brain cells, I guess, so the brain of King Ghidorah. He basically like kept one of the heads, the head that Godzilla ripped off. He kept it in it and was using basically its DNA and stuff like that to create a monster to defeat Godzilla, to destroy Godzilla, because he obviously was like, hey, Godzilla's a threat to humanity and stuff like that. So there was this orb or something like that from Apex Cybernetics that they had in there. Godzilla did not like what was happening because he sensed it. He felt its presence, and he basically came for it. Okay, I think my camera froze. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. My apologies. My camera froze and turned off. That was so weird. See? What a piece of crap. Piece of shit! But anyways, as I was saying, Godzilla didn't like what was happening in Apex Cybernetics. He felt the presence of some orb or something like that. It obviously had King Ghidorah's energy, so he didn't. He felt it and went after it and destroyed the whole Apex Cybernetics. He tried to destroy the whole company and like the whole entire thing. But yeah, that's basically the story of how Mecha Godzilla came into play and why he was basically in appearance. So let's get into the fights. Let's get into the fights. I like this movie a lot because of the fights and because of its CGI effects, the visual effects. It was superb. I mean, in my opinion, this movie was superb with that, and I finally pretty much got what I always wanted to see with Godzilla versus King Kong. Because I remember the old one. I think it was the 60s, 65, if I can remember the year. I remember the old one. It's the costumes, it's the guys in the suits and stuff like that. It looked a little silly, and the acting, of course, was terrible because it's old. And it was, old Japanese movies weren't that good with acting yet. So, but it's still a classic. It's still a classic to watch. If you've never seen it, go watch it. It's a classic. You'll love it because of that. But I always wanted to actually see Godzilla and Kong actually throw down, like punch after punch, this uppercut or something like that, which we pretty much got, and I was satisfied with that. Like the first scene when Godzilla meets Kong, like just it jumps out of the water at him and stuff like that. Like, oh man, it was so cool. It was so cool. And he when Godzilla jumps on top of the ship where King Kong was, you see Kong punches Godzilla, but he barely moves, and then Godzilla comes back with the wind up, bam, slaps the shit out of King Kong, and he falls down. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, here we go. Throw down. And then Kong basically gets Godzilla into the water, like flings him into the water, something like that, and then Godzilla just, you see the atomic breath rising, and you're like, uh-oh, here it comes. And Kong's just waiting there like, roar and shit. And all of a sudden, he just felt it. He said, oh shit, jumps. And then you see just the atomic breath go, boom. Like, I was like, oh man, this is awesome. This is great. Now, I love the movie because I didn't care about the characters. Like, I was not caring about that. What I cared about was Godzilla versus King Kong. That's all I cared about. The acting in this movie was kind of bad. It wasn't all that. It was kind of lame and boring and dry. The jokes were dry and stuff, and it was cheesy. Like Madison, she was kind of cheesy. But it's fans didn't really care about that. We all wanted to see Godzilla versus Kong. That's all we really cared about. That's all we wanted to see, and we got that. The acting and all that, the characters, whatever. Whatever. The hell with it. I was satisfied because of the fights. And then with Mecha Godzilla, oh man, Mecha was freaking beast, man. That dude, that thing was beast. He was definitely a force to reckon with. Like, wow. Nom coffee, French vanilla. So here we go. Let's see how much this movie made. The budget was 155 million to 200 million. And the box office made 390.9 million. That's good. That's good. At least they got over their budget, like, because sometimes movies they lose money, Director Adam Wingard, good job. I'll give him a thumbs up for that. And this movie was rated, the ratings are 6.5 out of 10, which is not so great, and that's only because of the acting. Of course, critics and stuff will pay attention to the acting and the story. The story was great. I like the story. I like the story. I thought the story was great. You have the origins. It showed us the origins of Kong and his race, and the reasons why, the race of Godzilla and the race of Kong always had a conflict. It's because they were always fighting for the dominance of Earth, who's going to be the ruler. Of course, Godzilla is the ruler, number one ruler, because he's the only one that fights off every single monster everywhere on the planet. You see Godzilla travel all over the place to fight somebody who's trying to take over the planet, right? So Kong, he's king, but he's king of his own land. That's the difference between Godzilla and King Kong. And of course, spoiler alert, you have they used the what's it called? The theory about Middle Earth. They kind of have that inside this movie, and that's where King Kong's race comes from. Pretty much, it's Middle Earth. So, and you have a bunch of this, conspiracy stuff going on, and there's this one guy, which I thought was pretty funny. I kind of liked his character. It was a little cheesy, but his character was kind of berserk. He was like going nuts because he was finding a bunch of conspiracy theories and stuff. Like, he's a conspiracy theorist, and he had a radio station and stuff, and Madison listened to him and stuff. So and he worked for the Apex company, right? Apex Cybernetics. but it was like he was losing his mind, but he was also smart with it, like he would outsmart somebody by acting like he's losing his mind. I thought that was pretty funny, and like to see when he's pointing the flashlight in the kid's face, like he just kept, yeah, you know. I thought that was pretty funny. I thought his character was pretty funny. Madison, it was a bit over dramatic. Her acting in this movie was a bit dramatic. She was like, you see her in the background behind, and she's like pumped and like looking like she's in a Power Ranger movie. It's like I was like, okay, she's gonna be the next Pink Ranger. Here we have Josh Valentine, right, played by Julian Dennison. I was like, okay, Mr. Tapwater, He had Bernie kept calling him Tapwater. That was funny, but his character, I was like, damn, how are they gonna make this only Native American dude like this? That's the slow one. That's kind of fucked up. But it kind of worked. It was cool. I did like them. I did like that. The movie was good. It was good for the most part. But it was excellent for the fights. The fights was excellent. I loved it. I loved it for that. Lots of death, though. That's for sure. Lots of people die in this movie. My God, the destruction and even Kong just murdering people for trying to kill him. I was like, oh my God, man, there's so much murder in this movie. God, like, yeah, people think Man of Steel and shit like that was bad. Oh my God. I was like, man, there's so many people dying in this movie. Wow. And especially the part when Mechagodzilla comes out. Like, I was like, oh my God, it's freaking hundreds of thousands are dying right now. Oh my God. It's insane. But, you don't really think about that when you're watching the fight scenes. You're just looking at the destruction and, how they're smashing each other into building to building and shit. That axe, though, I gotta get into about the axe with King Kong. I was like, hey, that was a pretty cool idea on how to like use King Kong's race, who figured out how to defeat Godzilla. It's like they had his, what's it called? It's like they had his DNA or something, for the atomic breath. It's like because his plates is a part of his like a cell. What was the energy cell? I forgot what it was called. He has like this energy cell. It's like atomic, and it's connected to those plates and stuff like that. So they had like one of his plates from one of the older Godzillas from probably ancient times, and it's like they created technology with it. So that's pretty intelligent. I kind of like that. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like because Kong wouldn't really stand a chance against Godzilla. He really don't. Because Godzilla is just more superior with his atomic power, his nuclear energy, He's barely defeated because of that. So that's what makes him Godzilla. So they needed to find a way, which I thought was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. They needed to find a way to get Kong to somehow dominate, Godzilla in some way, to make it an even fight, So that I thought was a pretty cool idea. To make that axe with Godzilla's plate, his little plate from the back. I thought that was cool. Ooh, excuse me. Ooh. But King Kong was definitely really good in this movie. Like he was smart, like always, very smart. And very, very vicious. You don't want to mess with this dude. I love King Kong. He's badass. So, I mean, I'm more of a Godzilla fan, but King Kong is he's pretty awesome. I've always loved King Kong. So, with that being said, like I say in all my videos, I think that is going to be my signature. With that being said, I hope I spoke for a lot of people out there who think of the same thing, who think this movie was pretty good, because I thought it was pretty awesome. Of course, a lot of critics, I'm not a movie critic. I'm not a movie genius, but I do know what to look for in a movie, and I do know what fans really want because I'm a fan myself, especially Godzilla and King Kong. I'm a fan, so I know what I wanted to see, and we got that. So I appreciate that, Adam. That was your name, right? Yeah, Adam Wingard. I appreciate that. I think we all do. I think I speak for everybody. We all do. We appreciate the acting wasn't all that, but hey, you know what? The story, the action, the fights, that's what we wanted to see. That's all we wanted to see. And we got that. So thank you. So with that being said, I hope everybody agrees. If not, that's fine. That's fine. Everybody has their own opinions. Even the movie critics will sometimes suck ass. Yeah, that's right. I said that. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and like, share, subscribe. Share this with everybody, just so they know that they're not the only ones who agree and disagree with everybody else. So, thanks for watching, and tune in next time. Peace out. Yeah. That was crap, but yeah.